To God be the glory in the highest. I greet every one of you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Our subject of discussion today is refuting one of the supposed contradiction in the Bible. Refuting one of the supposed contradiction in the Bible. I'm up to tell you today that there is no single contradiction in the Bible, but there is a particular verse in the Bible that some set of people say it is wrong, it is an error, and that is Genesis chapter 22 verses 12. Genesis chapter 22 verses 12. Let me read it out. And he said, "Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him, for now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me." This was said by angel of the Lord unto Abraham when Abraham wanted to slay his son Isaac. So what people now call contradiction there is that thy son, thy only son, said in Genesis chapter 12 verse 22 verses 12 was wrong. They said before this time, Abraham has given back to Ishmael, that it is an error for the Bible to say that thy only son in verse 12 again, since he has given back to Ishmael then. I'm happy to tell you today that this is not a contradiction. And by the grace of God, we have different references in the Bible that shows us that this is not a contradiction. Let's open to the book of Romans chapter 9 verses 7. Romans chapter 9 verses 7. I read, "Neither because they were the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. But in Isaac shall thy seed be called." Verse 8. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, they are not the children of God, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed. There's no contradiction between Genesis in Genesis chapter 22 verses 12, because what the angel of the Lord tried to say in Genesis chapter 22 verses 12 was that thy only son means the son that is the promised son, the only promised son. It does not mean that Ishmael was not given birth to before Genesis chapter 22 verses 12. But what thine only son means is that the son of promise. That is what Romans chapter 9 verses 7 told us, that neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children. It's not like because they are the seed of Abraham, they are all the children of Abraham. But in Isaac shall thy seed be called. It means that the promised child that God himself promised is Isaac. That is why God used used thy only son in Genesis chapter 22 verses 12. And you must agree with me that Ishmael was not in the program of God for Abraham. So it was only Isaac God himself promised Abraham. That is why thy only son was used in Genesis chapter 22 verses 12. And I'm also happy to tell you today that there are other 6 children that Keturah gave birth to for Abraham. Did you get it now? In Genesis chapter 25 verses 2, you will see the 6 children Keturah gave birth for Abraham. But in Galatians chapter 4 verses 22, you can see that it was said that Abraham had 2 sons. So does it mean that it's only 2 sons that Abraham have? Abraham have 2 sons, Isaac and Ishmael, according to Galatians chapter 4 verses 22. But Abraham has more than 2 sons, but Galatians chapter 4 verses 22 said Abraham has only 2 sons. It means that in Galatians chapter 4 verses 22, the Bible want to compare only Isaac and Ishmael. That doesn't mean that Abraham has 2 sons, because in Genesis chapter 25 verses 2, Abraham has 6 other children.